yourself, knowing that the police last night did indicate to us that they have deployed sufficient police officers to be able to protect the voters, but also any other citizens out there, and that indeed we need to maintain the peace and ensure that the entire electoral process is concluded without any incidents.
Dr. Blessings Ivan Zaza from the Southern Africa Coalition for Democracy and Accountability, thank you so much for coming through and giving your thoughts on the program. Mr. Peter Manangombe, the CCMG Programs Manager, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making the time to come through on the Zambian Got this morning. Giving your thoughts on the program. Vida, we are now going to Mumba Central and looking at how the numbers look like in terms of registered voters, which currently stand at 41,092. But who is in the race in Mumba Central?
That's right, Mumba Central. This is Central Province that we're looking at. The two candidates that you're getting to see here from the United Party for National Development is Clarence Chisuku, and we have an independent candidate here, John M. Mwalindi. Those are the two that are contesting in Mumba Central. Like Andrew said, we're looking at 41,099 registered voters in this particular area, and we'll get to update this as the day goes on, as results are given to us by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
You're right, Vida. We are getting to give you results as verified by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Now we look at another constituency, which is Nangoma constituency. The current member of parliament here is the European member of parliament who was the minister responsible for green economy, then was moved to water and sanitation. But let's look at who is contesting.
Who's contesting? The NRPUP's candidate is Albertina Chivolela, and there's an independent here, Boyd Hamusonde. The Socialist Party have Mishek S. Njobo, and the UPND have Collins Njobo, whom you are just from talking to serve as minister, with over 38,000 registered voters at 38,884.
Let's move on to another constituency and we look at the names that are appearing on the ballot.
Here we see the UPND's candidate being Stella B. Chilonda, and there's an independent here, Lemmy Mwinga. The NRPUP's candidate is Osprey Sakala, and that's over 28,000 registered voters that we are seeing in Mumbwa West.
Let's go to another constituency, another interesting constituency, and we look at who's contesting. We've got three candidates in the Fubu constituency. Vida, let's look at the names there.
The names here, we see the UPND, the Lewis Chitaila, and the NRPUP have Gift Chialika. There's an independent candidate here, also the Vualika. Those are the three contesting for Central Province.
The total number of registered voters in this constituency stands at 17,181. But now we move on to Lupososhi constituency and we look at who is appearing, or who is appearing. Lukusashi, not Lupososhi, but Lukusashi. Sounds the same. But
it sounds the same, but it's a whole different area, all different constituencies. For Lukusashi, and we are looking at an independent candidate here, Eddie M. Chunga, and we have NRPUP candidate Chester N. Kasonde. The UPND's candidate is Andrew Piahula.
We're waiting results for all those, and that's why the indication for votes is 0. The total number of registered voters in this constituency is 16,353, and the polling stations are 28, and none of them have been covered, and no result has been announced. Hence,
let's move to Serenge and see which candidates are contesting in this particular one. Here, Andrew, and that is NRPUP's Heban Chibale. There's an independent candidate here, George K. Kandafula. UPND has Friday Katombi. The Socialist Party has Horace Longwe. Citizens First have Aubrey Mashawa, and there's an independent, Stivas Mulumba.
Well, quite a lot, 6 candidates. The total number of registered voters here is 33,024, And the total number of polling stations is 51, and none has been counted so far because voting is underway.
Voting is underway. As soon as the results are announced, we'll be updating how that looks like on here as well. Let's move to Nkundalila. And in Nkundalila, we're seeing the UPND's candidate here being Emmanuel Banda. Citizens First has Chisenga N. Wangwe. There's an independent Timothy Chitupila. The NRPUP have Spencer Mwape.
Those are the four candidates there. The total number of registered voters are 13,221. And the total number of polling stations in this constituency is 27.
Let's speak to our reporter who's in Chama so we get to understand what is going on in Chama at the polling station where they're stationed, as we have been doing with various reporters from across the country, just to understand what the mood is like. It's past 9 in the morning now. How does
Good morning. This is Gift Sayama Mkombe reporting live for Namyanga Community Radio Station. Right now, I'm here live at Kalomo Secondary School polling station. And as you can see, we have quite a number of people casting their votes. And from the reports that I received earlier in the morning, the number was more than this, and most of them have already casted their votes. So here there are about 4 streams. As you can see, 3 classrooms are being used. As for the 4th stream, is situated on the other side of the school where I'll be going later on. I'm yet to find out how many people have casted their votes so far from 6 hours up until now. And as for observers, there are about 3 observers present. There's one from the United Party for National Development. And then there's the other one from the Alliance, as well as for an independent candidate.
Showed up to vote. Are there persons with disabilities that have showed up to come and cast their vote? Anything that you'd like to share with us in terms of these special demographics of our people?
Yes, we have persons with disability here, and these people are special people. Once they are identified, they are their own queue where they being.
Now let me just go and check out the other stream, the fourth stream, which is situated on the other side of the school, and check out how the turnout is on the other side of the school.
To vote, or have some voted already and still decide to stick around? Behind you, is everybody yet to vote, or
No,
have some voted
they are
already and
just
still decide to stick around?
making their way to queue. So people who have voted, some so people who are behind me, they are just making their way to stand on the queue. So it's quite a big queue, especially when you have this voting station being a main voting station, especially Chama Central Constituency.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for giving us details of what's coming out of Chama constituency in Eastern Province. Quite an interesting constituency, Vida, and predominantly the Eastern Bloc has been the stronghold of the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, which now obviously is the branch out of the NRPUV, and we'll see how the election results will look like in this part of the country. But let's move to Mwembeji and look at who is contesting.
Mwembeji has two candidates there, Andrew. As we are saying, there's an independent, Ibrahim K. Mwamba.
Page 24 of 27, page 24 of 27, column 7, row number 4, bracket 4, NRC 318150, block 4, 3, block 1. NRC 825-008 from 11 to 1. Kuala Page 25 of 27. Page 25 of 27. Column 3, row number 5, Kuala Raymond, NRC 829-008/11/1. Here we bind 16 of 27. For our street road number 3, here we bind on in our street 225502/45/1. In our street 173072/10/1. Standard Salat Tompwa.
Denied that and refused, and there was a bit of commotion there where the voters were telling with the electorate not to move. The presiding officer officially opened the polling station at 08:20 instead of 6 hours.
Now, with how police were able to, we see in the background there, just as you were talking, we saw a police officer just pass by. How were they able to just restore that chaos that was happening with people talking into the late opening of the polling station and just the changes that had been communicated by the presiding officer there?
Yes, Vida. I would not exactly say they have restored the confusion that was there. They're still trying to maintain and resolve the confusion that is here. But unfortunately, there are so many people and the door is blocked. I was inside just a few minutes ago when they opened the polling station. It took me about 30 minutes just for me to come out from the polling station because everybody is crowded at the door. Nobody is able to come out immediately once they enter into the polling station to cast their vote. So there is a bit of confusion whereby the police officers are still trying to resolve the matter and see how best they can handle the whole situation without causing more confusion.
Well, with the people that you have been talking to, out of all this chaos that's happening, what have they been highlighting as their main concerns?
Is that the ECZ would have actually been here earlier to sort out this issue. They are not happy. They have expressed disappointment to say it was not well organized, because if it was, they knew how many people were coming through to vote today. But instead of them coming here so that they can know how best they can handle it, they waited through today at 6 hours or 7 hours for them to start making people come here and this whole confusion.
All right, Tanga and Koma, thank you so much for giving us details of what's coming out of curfew, where the polling station just opened a few minutes ago, and people have now begun to vote. Vida.
Still in a confused state, with people raising their concerns there, but obviously officials there trying to calm everyone down and just have some sort of order as they start off with the process. And just opening at 8:20 means there will be an extension to this particular polling station, as they will be likely to close at 20:20, which equals the hours that they should be opening. And really, well, this does happen. It's not the first time that a polling station is opening late, but emphasis on the extension that is allowed when a polling station opens late. Well, in just a few hours, Andrew will be seeing the NRPUP presidential candidate go to cast his vote. We have our reporter who will be giving us an update there. That is the main opposition that we're seeing now, and their candidate will head to their polling station to vote, but also the president will head out to vote at 12 hours.
Obviously, at 10 hours, we're expecting that NRPUP presidential candidate, Brian Munduwile, he will go and cast his vote right here in Lusaka in Twin Palm at exactly 12 hours. Presidential candidate of the UPND, who's President Hakainde Hichilema, will also be casting his vote in Kabulonga at Kabulonga Boys. And so we'll be giving you live updates of how that will go. But let's quickly move on to another constituency, which is Chililabom, where we have a total of 5 candidates vying for the seat in this constituency.
We've moved to a whole different province altogether. We were looking at Central Province earlier on. Now we are looking at Copperbelt Province, and here we have Chililabom. Now Chililabom, the contestants look something like the UPND have Paul C. Kabuswe, this is a former minister that we're seeing here. The RP have Nsofwa K. Lupele. There's an independent candidate here, Andrew Moses Mwelwa. The Citizens First have Loti Ngwira, and we see another independent in Abraham Simpamba.
We see a number of independents in this election due to the fact that most of these independents had belonged to either the Patriotic Front or the UPND, but were not adopted, and so they decided to still participate by going independent. And one thing to take note is that most of these candidates are actually strong candidates, and seeing how the results will come in, it's going to be interesting to see how Parliament will look like with a number of independents contesting. It's the first time that we're seeing so many independents contest in Southern Province, so many independents contest in Eastern Province, and so many independents contest in Northwestern Province. This particular, province constituency has a total number of registered voters around. Just the previous slide, Director, to just look at the total number of registered voters. The total number of registered voters is 43,661 with 57 polling stations. We're at 0 because none of the polling station results have come up.
Let's look at Chililabom and what Konkola looks like. Still on the Copperbelt, as we have made that move from Central Provinces, we were looking at parliamentary candidates, aspiring candidates on parliament level. Konkola, we see the Socialist Party. They have Hagai Chisha. There's an independent here, Roy Ngosa. The UPND have Lucky Sichone. There's an independent, Benjamin Sikombe. The RP have Spolian Simwanda.
What is interesting is that Lucky Sichone was actually mayor, and he was mayor of the Patriotic Front and has been adopted, on the UPND ticket. And so it's really going to be interesting to see how the dynamics will look like and in this election, and how this will go. Also, Vida, 2 independents, in this particular race, in this constituency. The total number of registered voters is 31,758, and the total number of polling stations is at 46.
Okay.
But
we continue. Let's continue still talking on the Copperbelt, though, but talking to our reporters. We have Mwami, who is joining us from Mofalera, just keeping us updated on what's happening with the polling stations there. Mwami, out in Mufulira, we're just from talking to one of our reporters who was telling us the polling station she's at only opened a few minutes ago. What is the status with where you're at? Did they open at 6 exactly?
Thank you so much. Here in Kankoyo constituency, I started my day with Kubusa ward, where the polling station is hours with so many resilient young people, women and men gathering, wanting to cast their vote. We did indeed observe the fact that we expressed our concern. We had some challenges in putting their names on the voter registers. That brought a bit of negative expression from the voters. But luckily, with the help of the polling agents and the people, authorities there, we were able to locate their names. Moving to Mpelemba Ward, where everything seems to be running smoothly, with at 7:56, over 100 voters casting their vote. So far, so good here in Mufulira, no violence, and everything is okay.
At the door, nobody is able to come out immediately once they enter into the polling station.
Have you been able to speak to any of the people that have managed to vote so far?
And see how best they can handle the whole situation without.
Yes, I have managed to talk to some young people who
With
were
the
excited.
people
They're
that
first
you
time
have been
voters,
talking to,
and
out of all this
they
chaos that's
are
happening, what have
looking
they
forward
been
to
highlighting
a
as their main
change in the
concerns?
economy after the standard of living.
And to the elderly, have you managed to speak to some elderly people who queued up to vote? What did they communicate to you as the importance in them stepping out today?
Disappointment to say it was not well organized.
Yes, I did interact with the elderly in the from the communities, those that showed up to vote. They did mention that they came to the polling station as early as 4, with the hope that they would be first to vote and go back to rest. Also, for them, it is making people the standards of living with a hope of better.
This whole confusion.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much for giving us details of what's coming out of Kankoyo, Mufulira district, which is in Kankoyo, which is in Fair district. Vida is quite an interesting constituency in Kankoyo, where this is where Hudson Mabeta, comes from. He was one of the few UPND members of parliament that was voted in. Before Hudson Mabeta, this constituency was being held by the Patriotic Front. But we move on to a different constituency, and obviously there the number of total registered voters in Mufulira, is just on the previous slide. Director, just look at the total number of registered voters in Mufulira district as we break down to what Kankoyo looks like. The total number of registered voters there is 31,758 with 46 polling stations, and 5 candidates are contesting for this particular seat in Chididabombe in Konkola.
Konkola is what we're seeing here on the copper belt. Andrew, the 5 candidates being the Socialist Party.
Head out to vote at 12 hours.
Well, we
obviously,
did look at
10
that,
hours, we
and
expected
the Socialist
that
Party in their representation. Konkola, there's Hagai Chisha. We see the Independent being Roy Ngosa and Lucky Sichone, Benjamin Sinkombe, Spolian Simwanda, which we had looked at earlier on. Yes, let's move to another constituency and look at the aspiring members of parliament there, and that's Chingola Central, where we're seeing 2. Actually, Andrew, that's Joseph Kajila, and he's from the UPND. We see the NRP being one of the contestants for the seat of Chingola Central.
Now we are
Central, the total number of registered voters standing at 59,428, and it has a total number of 81 polling stations. Let's quickly now move on to Nchanga Vida.
Nchanga, what we're getting to see still on the copper belt, the candidates that are contesting. Citizens First. Mulaza Kaira, everybody got a chance actually to have their last campaigns yesterday. Mulaza Kaira, having a background in the entertainment industry, held a rally that had the entertainment, which also included his siblings.
Quite an interesting to see. I did watch part of that rally that he had, and I equally watched part of the rally that the UPND and the NRPUP had.
Boris T. Chansa under the NRPUP ticket, and Donald Chishinka is an independent. UPND has Chipoka Mulenga, who is a former minister. The Citizens First have Alex C. Mwewa. That's what it looks like with the four candidates.
Chipoka Mulenga was minister in the last sitting of Parliament. He was minister responsible for trade, commerce, and industry, and is seeking re-election, into this particular race. He came in as an alliance partner. He wasn't originally a member of the UPND, but was brought in as an alliance partner, and he was adopted by the UPND, and he won the elections in the last, in the last election cycle, and is seeking re-election. And the total number of registered voters in this constituency stands as 34,716. What is interesting is that 64 polling stations.
Now we'll move to Kalulushi and see which candidates are contesting. In Kalulushi, still on the copper belt, we have three, Andrew. The NRPUP have Bernard Wesa, RP has Patrick Mulenga, and the UPND have Kampamba S. Mulenga.
All Patriotic Front members.
Former, you mean?
All former Patriotic Front members. What's interesting in this particular race is this, that the RP and the NRPUP are in an alliance. The NRPUP, with its presidential candidate, Brian Munduile, initially on the RP, the one who was supposed to be presidential candidate.
Page 6 of 27, column 4, row number 2, Banda Nina, 175274 for 1041.
Went to this particular constituency. Who
for each of their candidates, for which of their candidates they were pushing out most well. Seeing that it's an alliance, which this party is actually a coalition, where we've seen different alliances come together. And those are pictures candidates that we are seeing off of Kalulushi. We will be updating those numbers when results are brought in by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. For now, they stand on 0 because people are currently voting, Andrew, and we'll be getting to do this, the updates in real time, just to give people what's happening with the numbers as they're rolled out.
You're right. We've got a total number of registered voters in this constituency standing at 50,120 and 68 polling stations. Let's now proceed and move on to our next reporter, Prudence Chota, who is currently at Kabulonga Boys right here in Lusaka, Zambia. This is the polling station where President Hakainde Hichilema, presidential candidate of the UPND, is expected to vote from later on today. Prudence Chota, thank you so much for joining us on the Zambian vote. Tell us how voting is going so far.
Of course, good morning in Danji, and of course, good morning to everyone watching Diamond TV this morning. Of course, we are live here at Kabulonga Boys Secondary School, where voting started at exactly 6. At least we know for sure that, one center was opened by 6, and the others followed by 6:05, and by 6:10, the voting had started on almost all the centers. So far, so good. And there was a huge turnout in the morning. Like early in the morning, we could see a lot of people. People started coming here as early as 04. By 03 something to 04, people were already here. And by the time it was 6 hours, we saw quite a number of people had already lined up here to vote. So we've seen, if I can perhaps compare, I know that in 2021, by this time, we had quite large numbers compared to what we can see now. But numbers have been building up, and the process is quite fast. I'm sure that's the reason why quite a number of people have already voted, including myself. Of course, I have voted. I've seen a lot of comments where people are asking to say, do journalists actually vote? Yes, we vote. I have voted, and I can confirm. And so far, it's been peaceful. It's been calm. Everyone who's been here is just in the line. There is order here. And everyone has gotten to vote. I know we've seen quite a number of people who've come here to vote. Among them, the former Lusaka Central Member of Parliament, Lambo Haimbe, has been here since 05, coordinating things and also, ensuring that the process here is going on smoothly. Is among those who voted, encouraged a lot of people to come and vote because the atmosphere is calm here. And we've also seen Patrick once, the husband to the daughter to late President Edgar Lungu, in just casting his vote, was accompanied by the wife Tasila Lungu, who also encouraged Zambians to show up in large numbers, not to be discouraged, but to ensure that they come and cast their vote, because she says even if she's mourning and sad, she's in mourning and sad, she still believes that it is a very important day for her to come and cast the vote because the future of Zambia depends on it. We've also seen persons with disabilities here on wheelchairs, on crutches, who've been coming to vote. And persons with disabilities and the elderly, they don't really have to stand in the queue. So whenever they come, they just go to the front, they cast their vote and they leave. So we've seen quite a number of those who are also coming here in to vote. Then also a lot of young people. I know there is a lot of youths with a lot of energy. They are also here, lining up and waiting for their turn to cast their vote.
We're seeing people there, seated, and obviously it tells the story just how tired they could be in those queues. You had earlier indicated that the queues are moving quite fast, but looking at the background, it looks like it's quite the opposite, that the queues are moving a little bit slow.
It can be, you're looking at it in that way, but if you look at the amount of people that were here in the morning, like for example, the queue that you're seeing behind me, it's not that it's a very long queue compared to the way it was even in the morning or some few about an hour or so from now. So the fact that the line, keeps reducing is the fact that people are going in to vote, and the process is quite moving smoothly and fast. On the other side, we also have seen queues, like, the way it is, people are put in alphabetical order, and we've seen queues on my other side of where I am facing their queues, and here behind their queues. So it can look like the queues are slow, but if you look at the people that were there and the ones that are there now, you can see that there is a difference. That's why I'm saying the process is smooth and quick, and people are voting. That's why we are seeing few numbers if you look at the queue.
Prudence, just for clarity's sake there, when you said you had a conversation with Patrick, Tasila Lungu's husband, you proceeded to say she. Was the message that you were bringing out coming from Tasila Lungu herself through the husband? What exactly did you mean there?
Was speaking to the media, was speaking to us when we asked her why she was here. She, of course, accompanied her husband. She has voted in Chawama. The husband is voting here in Kabulonga. So she accompanied him. And after he cast his vote, she did speak to the media where she was encouraging people to turn out in large numbers to vote because it is their constitutional right to vote. So she was speaking actually to the media, not the husband, but her in her own capacity. she was speaking to the media, encouraged people to turn out in numbers to vote. She indicated that even if I'm still mourning and I'm in pain, I had to show up and vote because the future of Zambia depends on this election. Those were her exact words as I'm quoting them.
Now, also, we do expect the President, Hakainde Hichilema, to later on show up there to cast his vote. Even as we speak into him just coming through there, let's talk into how people are with their mood around voting today, Prudence. What have they been expressing as some of the needs of the country, those that you have talked to?
The very important aspect that is coming out is that voting is everyone's constitutional right. And you know, Vida, for a fact that people love to keep, who their preferred candidate is a secret because that's what it is. So really talking about that, no, but the reason why most of them have showed up here to vote is because they believe it's their constitutional right. They're also saying it's because our future depends on it. The decision that we make today has got the power to impact the future. If you vote wrongly, that decision that you're going to make today is going to impact the future. If you decide to stay away also, you would realize that that decision to stay away is also going to affect you as an individual. That's why it's important to come. You vote for your preferred candidate. Whoever you think this is your preferred candidate, just show up and vote. So most of those who are coming here are actually saying it's their constitutional rights, and they're also trying to protect their future. That's why they are turning up in, large numbers to come and cast their votes.
You mentioned that you voted, which good for you, Prudence, that you voted. Are you able to tell us how long, approximately the voting process is taking at that polling station?
I think each person, the process is taking roughly between maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes each person. Yes, that's a lot of time, because I also felt I took a lot of time. You remember when you go inside there, your name first has to be verified in the register that they have. So you reach there with your voter's card, you go to the first officer who has, a template of where names are together with pictures. So she has to verify. Then she also has other people who are verifying alongside her. So when she sees your name, she'll announce it so that others also check in the register that they have and check. And then when you come from her, you go to the next person who's supposed to give you the presidential, ballot. And then you go to another person who's supposed to give you local government, parliamentary, and she's actually giving 3 for local government. You have parliamentary, you have for the president, which I mentioned, and which is the other one? I think it has skipped my mind. But yes, so she's giving you 3. At first you get for the president, then you get for the other 3, and then you go into now the booth and you vote. And then when that they are giving you the ballots, they have to verify with your voter's card the number that is there. It has to be entered where they are filling the leaf which you are voting on. That number has to be recorded. So the process is a little bit like that, a little bit slow, if for lack of a better word, but it's taking roughly between 5 minutes and 10 minutes for one to cast the vote, depending on how quick the officers are.
All right,
Some officers
thank you so much.
might be a bit slow because of the issues they have to see clearly and stuff like that, but it's roughly taking between that. Others, it's even happening in less than 5 minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes, they've cast their vote and they're done, but it's just roughly between 5 to 10 minutes.
Prudence Chota, thank you so much for giving us details of what's coming out and how voting is going there in Kabulonga, at Kabulonga Boys, right here in Lusaka, in Kabulonga. And this is the area where President Hakainde Hichilema is expected to come and cast his vote from. The leader of the NRPUP is voting from Twin Palm. We'll be getting details of where the other presidential candidates, the other 11 presidential candidates, are going to be voting from. But let's speak to more of our reporters. Vida.
And Vanessa is on the Copper Belt as we move to the Copper Belt and just understand. Vanessa, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. You are in Chingola West, where you have been witnessing what's happening at the polling stations there. Describe to us the mood of the people on the opening of polling stations this morning.
Thank you so much. Chingola, as you may know, where I am right now, I'm in the newly created constituency, which is the Chingola West constituency. This constituency has about 75,000 plus population, and the voters, registered voters stand at 34,716 with about 8 wards. So we have about 4 people that are contesting in this constituency. We have Chupoka Mlenga, who is the former Commerce Minister, as well as the Chingola constituency. Then Chingola constituency within this same area. So I started with Chikwempala Combined School early in the morning at exactly 6 hours. The mood there was some people have come out in numbers. Though it was a bit low, the turnout that was at Chikwempala Combined. As I came to Chikwempala Community Hall, here the turnout is massive. The queues are straight from the community hall door up to the road. That's where the spread has reached right now. So earlier on, I saw a woman who was being pushed on the wheelchair by the relative. The other woman was a little, seemed a bit sick because she was being assisted by a relative as well to cast their vote.
Well, that's a very, very interesting story that you're telling us of how this woman that was being carried, by her relatives was made a decision to come and cast their vote. But also, it's interesting to note that, according to you, massive people have turned out to come and cast their vote. Did you speak to this woman? If you did, what did she tell you?
She said she wanted to see change. According to her, she came out in the morning so that she can cast a vote. She wants to see change. I couldn't go further as to what she wanted to see change on, but according to her, she just wants to see change.
I would also, Vanessa, like to understand, Chikwempala is known for their youth being very active. The young people there have made quite the name for themselves. Let's speak just into that, the young people that you are talking to. What are they communicating as the decider for them stepping out today to cast their vote?
So the young people that I talked to earlier, the reason that why they had come out to cast their vote, some came as early as 01, according to them. The ones that I've spoken to, they came here as early as 01 because they want their century back. That was the reason some of them have come out to cast their vote.
All right, thank you so much for giving us details. Vanessa, she's connecting, with us from Chingola West. Chingola West is very interesting. It's got 34,716 voters, and it's got 64 polling stations with 3 constituencies. This is Chingola district. But we maintain with Copperbot as we speak to our next reporter to give us more details of what's coming out in their respective district and respective constituency. Let's quickly look at our next reporter.
That is Patrick.
Patrick Mupeta.
Yes, Patrick Mupeta is joining us this morning out in Chingola as well. Patrick, good morning. Let's hear from you. Is the turnout in the polling stations that you have been at as impressive as what we are hearing from Vanessa not long ago? Have people been turning out in numbers so far?
So good morning to you. Yes, indeed. The numbers have been very impressive. I kick-started off my mission around 04:30, and I could see that people, came out in large numbers heading to various polling stations. I mean, in Changa constituency, which has registered voters according to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, that is 57,072 registered voters. Let me just break it down for you. So for female registered voters is 28,715. female 28,335 registered voters with 88 polling stations and 11 wards. So this speaks to the vastness of Unchanga constituency. So yeah, the turnout has been pretty good. I've moved around in about 5 polling stations, and the turnout has been good. Right now, I'm at UCZ polling station. It's a bit slow, but at least from morning up to now, at least 100 people have cast their votes.
Have you spoken to any of the people that have already voted? If yes, what are they telling you?
Yeah, so I can start with, I went at Matero Secondary School, Sekela Secondary School. That was around 08 hours. And basically, for the people, what I sensed is the patience that they have. But as you know, the process sometimes, gets a little bit slower in inverted commas. And, people want the process to be, pushed up a little so that, they can cast their vote and they can go and do, their various chores. So I also went at main social around 06 hours. And the first person to cast their vote, it was an elderly woman. And she was the first one to do that. She was assisted, obviously, according to the advancement in her age. She was assisted. When I spoke to her, interestingly, she said she has been voting for a very long time, and she thinks it's every citizen's right to participate in this very important electoral process, and we are at the climax. So the voter turnout has been good. It has been peaceful here. I haven't seen or witnessed any violence during this process. And I must make mention that the police at various polling stations unarmed, and they're just basically there to maintain law and order. So it has been generally peaceful here as I continue to move around.
Well, thank you so much for giving us details. Coming out of Unchanga, Patrick, we'll be getting back to you later on to get much more details on how the voting will proceed for the rest of the day. But let's engage more of our reporters, Vida.
Well, let's look at more of the areas, actually. We have been also taking a look into aspiring Member of Parliament candidates, and we are on the Copper Belt. We maintain the Copper Belt and move on to Chambishi. What we're seeing in Chambishi is 6 that are contesting for Member of Parliament, Andrew. We have Independent Sydney Chawasanga, another independent, Frederick Chanda. NRPUP have Modesta Kawe, another independent, Chikawala M. Kaleta. The UPND have Rashida Mulenga. There's another independent, Febi Simwanza. That's 4 independents.
I think so far this is the highest constituency in terms of independents that we've read out so far. 4 independents and 2 political parties in this constituency, and this constituency has a total number of registered voters standing at 35,686 and with a total of 62 polling stations. Let's move to another constituency, Vida.
Indeed, we move to Chimwemwe this time, still on the Copper Belt, and Chimwemwe looks something like 5 that are contesting for Member of Parliament. The Citizens First have Crispin Kabangila. There's an independent, Daniel C. Makina. The UPND have Mpasa Mwaya. The NRPUP have Musenge El Mwenya, and another independent in Patrick J. Simwanza. That's what Chimwemwe looks like on the Copper Belt. 5 candidates.
5 candidates, they are there, and the total number of registered voters is 73,380. And it has a total number of 94 polling stations. But let's move on to a different constituency, Kamfisa constituency. Kamfisa constituency only has 2 candidates, Vida.
Kamfisa only has 2 candidates, which is really interesting that it's a contest we're seeing between the 2 parties. NRPUP have Kelvin Chipeli, and the UPND have Suveta M. Kiamba Kuka. That's what Kamfinsa is looking like out on the Copper Belt.
Let's move on to a different constituency.
With over 59,000 registered voters. Let's move to a different constituency as we maintain the Copper Belt.
Wacha, we'll go to Wacha constituency.
We move to Kwacha. Wacha is where we're moving to. Kwacha is where we're moving to on the Copper Belt. Wacha is Central Province. We had earlier looked at it, but Kwacha on the Copper Belt, we see NRPUP have Brian Chirambo. The UPND have Crispin Chomba. There's an independent, Tom Lungu, another independent, Peter Mulenga, another independent, Castro Mulilo. The Citizens First have Thomson Ngambi, and the Socialist Party have Alice Yabula. That's 7 candidates altogether.
7 candidates altogether. And
77,286 registered voters.
And we've got 108 polling stations. But let's move on to Nkana constituency. Also on the copper belt, Nkana constituency has a total number of 4 candidates. And from the UPND, we have Mukuka Francis. Mujindu Ellis is independent. Chiteme Alexander, he's former member of parliament, for this particular constituency. He lost out in 2021. And he's recontesting with the hope to make it.
He was minister as well.
And he was minister as well under the Patriotic Front. And we've got Chewe David, who is an independent. The total number of registered voters in this constituency stand at 63,860. It has a total number of 86 polling stations.
That's what Nkana looks like. We move to another constituency as we continue looking at aspiring members of parliament. And here we are, Wusakile, out on the Copper Belt, with the UPND having Katai Chibesa, an independent there, Noah F. Chizinga. The NRPUP have Pavuma Kalobo, and there's an independent, Ricky Kamboyi. The Citizens First have Ernest Mumba for Wusakile.
And the total number of registered voters in this constituency stand at 55,302, with the total number of polling stations standing at 76. But let's move on to Luansha constituency. Vida, we have a total number of 4 candidates contesting. The NRPUP, UPND, Socialist Party, and Leadership Movement. This time around, no independent.
No independents here. So the Leadership Movement have Moses Kapufi. SP have Lazarus Lufinga. The UPND have George Mamonwa, and the NRPUP have Golden Mulenga. That's what Luansha looks like there as we have been looking at the Copper Belt and aspiring members of parliament, the last there being Luansha. Let's bring it back here in Lusaka as we're talking to our reporters. George Piri is joining us just to give us an update on what's happening at the polling station he is at. George is in Munali. George, good morning. It's after 9, almost 10 that we're looking at now, 4 hours past the opening of polling stations. How can you describe what you have seen in the different polling stations you've been to?
Morning, Vida. It's a very interesting turn of events today, especially at the polling stations. The first polling station I was at this morning was Manali Boys.
Zambians have settled on 2 candidates. Tom's Pamoji Alliance. Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026.
It's a historical day. It's election day in Zambia. Zambia is holding its presidential, parliamentary, and local government elections. Tell us where you are calling us from and share with us your experience if you are at the polling station. The lines are open. I've got a powerful team with me that will join with me and share your experience. We're already receiving some reports in Lusaka and other places that some voting material are missing. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and share your contribution.
Okay, good morning, Mamba.
Good morning.
Yeah, so this is Mike from Zambia.
Yes, we can make your contribution.
Yes, I'm in a queue. We started voting. Our police station operates around 6:40 or 58.
What polling station is that?
Inside. This is Shalom.
Shalom in Makeni. Has it opened?
Yes, it has opened. It's opened today.
Okay. Any challenges? Any queues? Explain to us what's happening.
Yeah, so there's calm here. The situation is calm, and the only challenge we are facing right now is the weather. It's very hot today. Like if we are to estimate, maybe it's ranging between 17 to 15 degrees right now.
Is cold or hot?
But very cold.
Very cold. Oh, I see. Asheni Mbabula.
No, we are here actually. We'll make sure that we cast our votes no matter the circumstances.
Yes. How is the queue? Is the queue long?
Very, very long.
Have people started voting?
Yes, they have started.
Ah, okay. No, my brother, you can call us when you vote and then you can give us your experience.
Okay, I'll do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The lines are open. If you're on a queue, tell us where you are calling us from and share your experience. We received some messages that some polling station didn't have pens, some polling station didn't have ink. Just verify for us where you are calling from and let us know how it is going where you are going. A gentleman from Makeni is telling us that the line is long, but it's very cold for him, but they're on the queue and they will, they will endure and vote. It's Zambia Decides today, and let's just understand what's happening across the country. Share with us either in the comments or you can call the number on the line and tell us your experience. Zambia today is voting. It's that day. It's D-Day to vote for any of your candidates. When my team comes, we'll be reviewing the press, the newspapers of the day, and we go straight into election day issues.
Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026.
Lusaka is reporting high voter turnout. High voter turnout, long queues, snaking around corners, and people have already started voting. It's been a cold day, but people turned up even as early as 03, where in Tendere I saw people that had turned up as early as 03. Tell us your experience. Contribute in our comments and tell us your experience. Today is election day, and we cover the details regarding the elections.
Candidate Brian Mundubayo, who has emerged as a leading candidate facing off the incumbent and append leader, President Hakainde Hichilema. Join the debate as we give detailed analysis, opinions, and information regarding election results.
Lucas Kamwale from Kitwe says we've been at the polling station, but it's not yet open. Look at the time. It's 6:48. The polling station should have opened now. This is Lucas Kamwala, who is in Kitwe, Kapoto, and he says the polling station is not open. Those are the experiences we want to hear from you. Give us your experience.
Fight them. They can do what they want to do. But there will never be a time when I will fail to do what is needed because I am afraid. I drove here by myself. I parked my car next to the polling station. And if anybody wants to do me harm for what I've done, they are welcome to do it. But I will not be afraid. And I'm urging all of you in the NRUP, UP, and in the RP, monitors, to not be afraid. We have to protect our votes, no matter how many of us are going to pick up. We must be able to defend the democracy of this country. If others will be afraid, we most of all must be unafraid.
Mr. Lungu, we're coming to a close. What's your word to the Zambian out there who will be going to the polls?
I am saying my urge to the Zambian people. And I'm not only talking to the general Zambian people, I'm talking to people who are supporting my position. I'm talking to some of the people who are not supporting my position, but can see the honesty by which I am expressing this. I am talking to those of you who are undecided. This election is no longer about an individual who wants to get into power. It is about an individual who is in power, who has made our lives very difficult, even when he undertook to make them better. Okay? So I urge all of you to turn out. If you want change, don't stay at home on Thursday. Get up. Get on up and tell your neighbor and your brother and your sister and your mother and every circle of you to get on up and go and vote.
Lungu, we're coming to a close. What's your word to the Zambian out there who will be going to the polls?
I am saying my urge to the Zambian people. And I'm not only talking to the general Zambian people, I'm talking to people who are supporting my position. I'm talking to people who, some of the people who are not supporting my position, but can see the honesty by which I am expressing this. I am talking to those of you who are undecided. This election is no longer about an individual who wants to get into power. It is about an individual who is in power, who has made our lives very difficult, even when he undertook to make them better. Okay? So I urge all of you to turn out. If you want change, don't stay at home on Thursday. Get up, get on up, and tell your neighbor and your brother and your sister and your mother and every circle of you to get on up and go and vote.
It's no development that doesn't come from land and natural resources. And land and natural resources are ours. Why should we be poor? This fumusizwera famu waruna. This fumusizwera famu zaruna. Zorunya tela kiskaman. Mwaliket soka ufela. Mwendi muna ni omulata ulu. Ombata kuketa. Konoti abayo fa ballot paper. Hakuna koro ya kupaketa. In an election, your own
And you have to check where your polling station is. A school can be a voting center and it can house 3, 5, or even 8 polling stations. Remember, there are 13,529 polling stations and only 9,000 voting centers. So the case of Inchilenje at Muyoma polling station is typical, where one voting station has various polling stations, and then you have these arrogant poll staff that are refusing to comply with the regulations. They are telling them, stick so that we can check. He wants, you know, so many hundreds to tell him their name, then he points them to where it is. Confusion. Please share your experience. We are in the studio and we are here to listen to you.
And the final hours of the campaign changed the mood of tomorrow's vote. After months of rallies, promises, debates, and political battles, the campaign trail officially comes to an end today. Tomorrow, millions of Zambians will head to the polls to make their voices heard. As the final campaign hours unfold, what are you watching for? Can the final hours of the campaign change the mood of tomorrow's vote? After months of rallies, promises, debates, and political battles, the campaign trail officially comes to an end today. Tomorrow, millions of Zambians will head to the polls to make their voices heard.
Augustine, you can share any message that you receive and you can share it, just alert me. Percy from Kitwe in Luangwa says the process has started very well and the line is moving smoothly and he hopes to cast his vote soon. That's very good. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good morning, Ambassador Mwamba. And
good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mkonka. I've seen Mr. Mkonka there. I think when I just came back from, I went as area. This is Mr. Mulenga actually. I'm calling you from Kabwe Central.
Yes.
I'm just from voting. I went as area as 005.
Yes.
They opened the polling station at 6. We have voted so far. I think from what I've looked at the situation is calm. People, the queues now are becoming long. People are coming to vote. I only pray and hope that the situation will be as calm as it is anywhere else. So I think Infilafina Turela and Kuvo, but I have seen Gamule Mona, Valondora, presiding officer, the Popadia, Balandeshina, Mamona, Filafina Moishiba, Nama polling agents, Wamoneshina, Wamonatia, Ifin, but then what is important is to cast our votes in numbers, so that we can get the change that we need. But so far so good. I only pray and hope that everywhere else it will be the same situation, and we'll be will be around, will be on the ground also to see what is going on.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So really,
Thank you very much. Type your experience in. We'll read your comment. Type in your experience. There's here is some message. The polling station at State House, there's a polling station outside, not in State House, at State House. Tempers are high because voters with surnames from N to Z do not have a voting stream, and they haven't voted up to now, and they haven't been identified. This is State House polling stations. Surnames from N to Z do not have a voting stream, and it has caused confusion. People are even joking that have you allocated our names to pre-marked ballots? Why? So State House, there is that issue, and many that are there are reporting this matter. And this this polling station extends far beyond State House. It goes into Kablonga, into Chilenje, State Lodge, and those near Rhodes Park, vote at State House polling station. And usually State House polling station is usually at the golf club. But someone can tell me where this polling station is. Is it at golf club? Is it at golf club, the State House, Lusaka Golf Club? Usually somewhere around. So, update us. We are in the studio of Augustine Mukoka, and Dr. Brian Sampa is expected to join us. Augustine, your views?
I think first of all, it's a good sign. It's a good sign that the people have come out. There's a lot of enthusiasm. I spoke to somebody on the Copper Belt who says, people look enthusiastic, people look determined, and it's a good sign for our democracy. It's a good sign for this election. We, of course, are expecting very good results. I've been also scanning through social media, and Ambassador have been discussing about regional voting, tribal voting. Unfortunately, I read a message from the former mayor of Livingstone, Constance Nalishewo, telling the people of Dudumwezi to do the same as they have done. Now, you see, when people who served in leadership begin to campaign on such tribal lines, it becomes very unfortunate because regions are divided and they are divisive. Ours is to unite the country because we cannot, urge the people to divide, to vote based on our region or tribe. And I think those are some of the things we need to look out for. I also saw that the king, the respected king of Baroteland, the Litunga, has cast his vote. Among the first that obviously went on to cast his vote. And we are expecting President Hichilema to go to his usual polling station in Kablonga later mid this morning. We also expect President Brian Mundubile to proceed to his voting polling station. And those are some of the big moments of the day as the day unfolds into this election period.
Thank you very much. So the State House voting station, I was talking about the police, the polling station, at State House, is next to the police camp, next to State House Clinic, just there, and the car park, State House Clinic and the police camp. There is a polling station called State House. This is where the names, alphabetical names from N to Z, have not been allocated a voting stream. ECZ, quickly check and see how you can correct that so that our people are not distressed. Allow them to vote in peace.
Zambia Decides 2026. Zambians have settled on two candidates. Tom's Pamoji Alliance candidate, Brian Mundubile, who has emerged as a leading candidate facing off the incumbent and append leader, President Hakainde Hichilema. Join the debate as we give detailed analysis, opinions, and information regarding election results.
Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026.
Hello, caller.
Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026.
Fight them. They can do what they want to do. But there will never be a time when I will fail to do what is needed because I am afraid. I drove here by myself. I parked my car next to the polling station. And if anybody wants to do me harm for what I've done, they are welcome to do it. But I will not be afraid. And I'm urging all of you in the NRUP, UP, and in the RP, monitors, to not be afraid. We have to protect our votes, no matter how many of us are going to pick up. We must be able to defend the democracy of this country. If others will be afraid, we, most of all, must be unafraid.
Mr. Lungu, we're coming to a close. What's your word to the Zambian out there who will be going to the polls?
I am saying my urge to the Zambian people, and I'm not only talking to the general Zambian people, I'm talking to people who are supporting my position. I'm talking to some of the people who are not supporting my position, but can see the honesty by which I am expressing this. I am talking to those of you who are undecided. This election is no longer about an individual who wants to get into power. It is about an individual who is in power, who has made our lives very difficult even when he undertook to make them better. Okay? So I urge all of you to turn out. If you want change, don't stay at home on Thursday. Get up. Get on up and tell your neighbor and your brother and your sister and your mother and every circle of you to get on. So I urge all of you to turn out. If you want change, don't stay at home on Thursday. Get up. Get on up and tell your neighbor and your brother and your sister and your mother and every circle of you to get on up and go and vote.
Zambia Decides 2026. Zambia Decides 2026.
Augustine, let's do some more recaps. We'll be going to the newspapers of the day. I don't know what has happened to our dear brother Brian Sampa. He's a medical doctor. He could be at work, but I've sent him a message, and he had confirmed he'll be with us this morning. Let's just begin. Let's look at today's newspapers and then we analyze. And PS Chandakazia, if you are around, just give me a quick call so that we can add you. Okay, so the Daily Nation is leading with Zambia votes, and it's listed President Hakainde Hichilema and the other 13 presidential candidates: Brian Munduwile, Harry Kalawa, Dr. Fred Membe, Xavier Chungu is still on the ballot, even if there's a notice to withdraw him. Remember the issues and the other candidates. That's a main story for Daily Nation. Bishop Imakando prays against vote rigging. And now state agents raid Makebi Zulu. That is the Daily Nation leading with Zambia votes, and with a good picture of President Hakainde Hichilema and the 13 other aspirants. The must is leading. Let me just take this call. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I'm Honorable. This is Josh in Matero.
Josh in Matero.
So I'm at Chingwere Primary School. So there are two streams here. There is Mau Mau and Chingwere. But under Chingwere, there is only one booth, and the line is very slow. They are picking one person, one woman, one man, but they are picking one to enter the booth. But what is surprising is there's only one booth, and it's very slow. And the queues are mounting and people are coming. But it's the process is taking very slow because they are picking one person to enter in the booth.
What place is that in Matero?
Chingwere Primary.
Chingwere Primary School, and there are just only two streams. And
so there are two streams. There is Mau Mau and Chingwere.
Okay. And there's just
Chingwere, where we
and there's just one booth for each.
There's only one booth inside, and they're picking one person to enter to go and cast their vote. But the queues are long, and they're picking one, so it's very slow. So I don't know why we can have one booth in the room.
ECZ, we don't want to accuse you of vote suppression. This is what we were talking about yesterday, that ECZ can engage in what is called vote suppression in areas where the opposition is registering strong and strength. They can engage in vote suppression. ECZ resolve those issues that are rising. Thank you very much. We'll prioritize the phone calls because we want to hear what's happening in the field. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Matila ku state house ati chili chimepali fwe tu vote la kuja kwini
Mkwayo bache bati kuri ubwafya from N to Z amashina tale chita tabako itokwa kuvotela. So it's a matter that we've urged ECZ to quickly resolve.
Alakabidi chini alakabidi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, my name is Chamata. I'm calling from Copper Belt.
Chamata, where on the Copper Belt?
In Chingola.
Chingola, which polling station are you at?
The SDA in Riverside.
SDA in Riverside. Give us a picture of what it is looking like.
Yeah, the numbers are very promising and good. The problem that is there is that there's a delay. They only... And then the people that are at the table, the ones that are issuing the ballot papers, they appear to be slow. There are 4 ladies there, but they appear to be quite slow. They are the ones that are delaying the line. It would have been better if maybe they had about 3 or 4 booths, because the lines now are swelling up. When we got there before 6, we had maybe about 50 people. But now the line is quite swelling, going all the way up to the road, and it has curved into the road. So I think that is where the delay is being caused.
Thank you very much for that update.
It's quite chilly this morning, Ambassador Mwamba. It's quite chilly.
Yes, and Chingola does get cold. Chingola does get cold. Kwa wakati nikumpika na nkuserenje. Sorry about it. I hope you carried something warm. Oh, I see. Yes, Riverside. Yes.
And tuikala kwachi parupiri filia. Maisha kunchange fokwava.
Yes. Yo, vane mwikalefe palaini muvote. Tuami papata. Thank you very much for that update. Thank you very much. We'll prioritize. Thank you very much. We'll prioritize the phone calls. Augustine, that is the must leading with that story. Let's go to the other papers that are ready. The Times of Zambia is leading with a prominent picture of President Hakainde Hichilema and the other candidates squeezed in one small space. That's a major story. And let's go to News Diggers. I saw I have News Diggers somewhere. Let's see. Let me look for News Diggers.
Zambia Decides 2026.
Yes, News Diggers are summarized matters like we have on this platform, that it is HH versus Mundwile and they are facing off. That's a major story. And HH saying, if you lose, try again, don't take to the streets. Then state nabs 3 ex-government officials over a plot to disrupt elections. Of course, we've discussed that matter on our program here. The Real Times is also leading with the two faces, President Hakainde Hichilema and Brian Munduwile, and it's just leading. The hour has come, like 20 or like 1991. And Chaminuko CEO killers nabbed, they're quoting the police that I think informed us that they have picked 7 suspects in relation with the gruesome murder of Stereos Shula Sadanis, who was killed a few days ago. They say they've picked 7 people. Augustine, let me bring you here. You give your comments about the day's newspapers. Thank you. You can offer your opinion.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Before I give an opinion on the day's headline, I think I was just also getting an update on the voting situation across the country. I see that there are also complaints of delays at many of these polling stations, or there isn't sufficient staff to process voters. There's a polling station in Chawama where I think there's an issue of power. The classrooms are not well lit, as well as the process is very slow. And Hot FM is also reporting that in Chiwombo, the voting at Mutakwa Primary School in the Mungule area, had not opened at 6. So they were still waiting for, I think, materials from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, although the officials were visible there. So there are these delays that are being reported. I'm not too sure. I've heard the caller said Chingola is also slow. And there's another one in Matero who said, there are only, I think, there's only one booth. I read somewhere that there was an issue with booths. ECZ did not procure enough booths. I don't know what could have happened on that one. ECZ have not issued any statement to be specific with regards to the number of booths they've distributed to the polling stations. Like you're saying, this could be a systematic way of suppressing the vote. You go into these polling stations and make it difficult for you to process voters on time and as quickly as possible. Then you find that we will be voting way into the late hours, even after 18, because what ECZ has said is, for as long as there is a queue at a polling station, they are not going to close the voting at the specific polling station. So those are challenges that we may experience by the time it's 18 hours and we're supposed to be closing voting. So I hope ECZ are going to be, proactive and act quickly so the process can speed up. Coming to the papers, of course, today is a big day in Zambia. The Daily Nation is leading with at least the Zambia votes announcement. I like the fact that they have not given one candidate prominence in terms of how they've used the pictures compared to the Times of Zambia. The Times of Zambia have used a big picture of President Hakainde Hichilema and then put the others in some corner. So sometimes the pictures can suggest bias in one way or the other. But I think I like the way the Daily Nation have framed it, and that is very good. We, like you've said, ECZ have, technically or just practically removed one of the presidential candidates, Xavier Chungo, saying that he's not on, his votes will not count. Whether he's voted or not, the votes will not count. So that we are reducing to about, there were 13, now they are 12 minus 1. Bishop Imakando is praying against vote rigging. How I wish we could have had men of God like Bishop Imakando speak about vote rigging way earlier than today. you and ourselves on this program have been saying rigging is a process. It doesn't only happen on voting day. I'll give you an example. Even if President Hakainde Hichilema received lukewarm reception around Lusaka, he was still campaigning as late as yesterday. However, the ECZ program restricted his opponents, his main rival, to Southern Province for this week, where he couldn't have gone as a result of security issues. That in itself is part of the rigging. He held the meeting in Chama, he went to Mandevu, and I think he went to Matero, if I'm not mistaken. He also passed through Cairo Road. You know, strangely, the people didn't even pay attention to him. It was, quite embarrassing that the head of state was passing through, everyone was going about their business. Yes, you can say there's security and stuff like that, but Ambassador, when people have attention focused on you, it is very visible that that attention will be felt, that attention will be seen. But we didn't see that in Chawama. We didn't see that in Cairo Road, even as he headed to Mandevu. However, that is also part of rigging. When you have one candidate with a clear advantageous latitude in the process, I think it's part of vote rigging, and it should not be allowed. And I wish Bishop Imakando could have started speaking out on these issues earlier than today, praying about these issues. I hope he's been doing that. But I wish he had been speaking about these. Maybe we could have seen them, mitigated. But if you look at the entire process, I think there was a significant approach to try and tilt this election towards President Hakainde Hichilema. However, the people of Zambia are having the final say in the ballot, and the result will show at the end of the day. So that is what I would submit with regards to the Daily Nation and its headline. Then again, in an election period, I do not know why there's so much apprehension that law enforcers would raid different homes of opposition leaders. We were discussing, I saw that you were discussing last night the incident in Wacha, where they picked the candidate for NRPUP on suspicion that he had ballots printed. When you critically look at those printed material, you can see that those are advertisement where you show people how you are going to vote and you distribute those. You raid his home, you pick him up before an election or on the eve of an election. You again go to another campaign center for President Brian Mundubile and his running mate Makebi Zulu. You raid the premises, you fire shots in that around the premises, you intimidate and scare people. What are you trying to achieve in this period when you conduct yourself in that manner? Why not
Thank
allow
you.
the opposition?
Thank you, Augustine. Let me just take this call. We hear what our people are. There've been queues in Kabanana, as you can see, huge queues in Kabanana. And there's good delay and it's extremely cold. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Stella calling you from Riverside.
Stella from Riverside, make your contribution.
Yes, I'm at the polling station, Valley View. We haven't started voting yet. Yes, there seems to be some confusions. The ballot papers arrived, I think, about 10 minutes ago, but we don't know which rooms to vote from according to the surnames, the letters. Yes, there's a little bit of confusion. It's almost going to 8. We haven't started voting yet.
Thank you very much.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. In Kitwe there, Riverside at Valley View polling station, the ballot papers have just arrived as stated by the caller. And they also don't know which stream they will use in voting. This one says, Wamwamba, good morning. I'm at Kasisi Primary. Voting started at exactly 06, and we have fair queues, very peaceful, and officials have been very professional, though it is very cold out here. This is in Kasisi. We have various international newspapers. Let me just quote the few international newspapers that have quoted Zambia's elections. We have AP News saying Zambia votes as president second term. Then we have the Guardian, Zambia election haunted by the ghost of incumbents, president's arch-rival. We have the Africa Report with a picture of President Lungu, and they are saying Zambia elections, will Edgar Lungu come back to haunt the poor? And we have BBC saying Zambia election, Lungu Barrio Rao turns presidential race into a hot contest. And we have the Financial Times is also talking about that Zambia goes to elections and it's a battle that is over copper windfall. And the Financial Times of UK is actually quoting Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba among the people that they had spoken to. Let me take this caller and we hear where they are and how the voting is going. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and tell us your contribution.
Good morning, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Gautama Nyerere. I am at Chunga Irrigation Center, and the polling station had just opened at 7:28. So there seemed to have been a delay in opening, but it's opening, and the crowd is, the queue is generally queuing up, eager and ready to cast our vote and move the country in the right direction. Thank you.
Would you know why the polling station opened late?
Just gave us a generic apology to say that issues that didn't sort out. They didn't go into detail, but they did. I can confirm here at Chunga Center that they opened at 7:28. It's been delayed.
Okay. Thank you very much from Chunga. Thank you very much, Gautama. Gautama giving us an update from Chunga, where the polling station opened very late, just slightly before. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and make your contribution.
Good morning, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good morning.
I will remain anonymous. So I'm calling from Lusaka, West.
Yes.
I was at Sekerera polling station. I must confirm that the number of voters who have turned out is very, very excellent. We have got a huge turnout. And I've just voted. They opened at around 6 hours, and I voted around 6:30.
Okay.
So the number is really overwhelming, yes, though.
You voted at what time?
At 6:30.
Oh, wonderful. Well done. You are a good citizen.
And the number is very huge. It's very huge.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for that update. Thank you very much. Family, call you, give us an update of where you are and how your voting took place, or if you are still on the queue. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and give us your contribution.
Hello, good morning, Mwamba. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you are talking to Chilufya from Chiwombo district, Chifuankula polling station.
Chifuankula polling station, Mr. Chulfia, give us your contribution.
Yeah, so we can see a large number. The crowd is turning out, and we are ready to cast our votes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have you voted already?
Yes, actually, I came as early as 01.
Was there any delay?
No. It actually opened exactly as 06 hours, and we started with the casting of our votes. And I can confirm that I was the first one.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Chivombo area is UPND stronghold there, and you can see how smooth it is. And like I'm saying, I don't want to be proven right. You'll have urban centers reporting, or those areas that are deemed to be popular, where the opposition appear to be very strong, having all these challenges and difficulties. And in areas where the UPND could be strong, they will have it smooth. But we'll see how the pattern emerges. But already it's giving us an indication that people in urban areas are having challenges. And look at the caller from Kasisi, look at the caller from Chivombo, smooth and smooth. But look at the callers from Lusaka, from the places that we've reported. Look at the callers from Chingola. There's what is called voter suppression, and we don't want it to happen. We are still throwing the challenge to ECZ to do the right thing. Augustine Chandakazia will be joining us shortly, but you can give us your contribution.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Yes, so Eastern Province, I think there are some good pictures that we are seeing from Chipata Central constituency. We just haven't received a specific update on how smooth the process is going. I've seen some pictures. We are yet to receive, the specific update on that one. So I was talking also, Ambassador, on the voter turnout. I think it's been impressive so far. The challenge we are having is whether ECZ was prepared for this election. Did they anticipate the turnout, or is this deliberate? We are having huge numbers. The updates we're getting, even from Lusaka Central itself, there are huge numbers. People are on the streets. I've been on the streets since. Last night, others joined them this morning. The queues are increasing, and the concern that the process is very slow.
Explain to the grassroots. I know that many are coming to you speaking in the local dialect, and tell us just how important this peace message is as you speak to the locals.
Thank you very much. Peace is very important. Everyone I've interacted with, especially the authorities from the Electoral Commission of Zambia district level, the local people themselves, the voters, they are saying they are enjoying this.
Ishaku, let me allow you to speak the local dialect. Let me allow you to express yourself in the local language as well.
Thank you, mwani. Tunapekele kuma machileshe. Mwani kuunda kwa lema. Hakuila anto ahinduki na ufuku kunkuku ya kucha. Tushimunetu kuma 03 neyanu hakani hampa. Polling station anto na yu anata anda mademu nisululu ufuma tumpinjia 03 hours. Na uchikwe tukuunda. Hakuila wena hinduki kulonda enzima kukosha kuhikila. Mushinga yitejawo mwitsulinda Zambia dakuvotera alombole jawo atera kuyiyula na kuyiletela kutona kulonda yihambili yawo yinyamuki na kuyihemba chatuwa mwitsunga bechilinda Zambia nawa kuwunda na kuyile national ushinga nawo chikweti kuwundi tsulinda Zambia tishikukulelo chakadi yikonkojoda dichi antama vuru kufuna tuku ipompelu ya Nzambi faith-based organizations civil society organization alombro kuma kuchoka cha Electoral Commission of Zambia amaboma age maswezi mokuru mpi Joseph Kanyemba district electoral officer wa Mwenlunga anakonko mwene nawo muntu wenjima ahembe kuunda nichituiro niboma nikabeta nkuna kunituna dezima kulonda iku kuvota kundi chiwanyu meso awunda chifuna kuvota lelu nikansa ya kuvota nichakabidika uanombole kuunda kutwale kumu neichi kubuna kutona na kuhandila momumu na kudiyunga na kunyamuka kuya kumbidi omudu gina kwendela kuvota kuno kubome mwenilunga east na west constituency niboma yekeleni napakile kumama chileshe.
Thank you, Mwane. Press Capita there giving us that update. Thank you so much. Giving us also just what is taking place, what the people of Mwinilunga want, and as far as peace is concerned, numbers are pouring there as well as people exercise their right to vote. Congratulations to every Zambian who is doing that. Let's go to Brian Malamba now as we look at different facets of development in this next interview.
Thank you very much, Chileshe, and thank you very much, Priest, for that update. Let's get to the next conversation. As you know, we're engaging different stakeholders to weigh in on this very important day when it comes to Zambia's political landscape. Now, joining us for an interaction here in the studio is Jacqueline Saidi Chimba, who is Public-Private Dialogue Forum PPDF Deputy Director General. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, and happy voting to you.
Yeah, happy voting. I know for a fact that, look, you've had to endure quite some cold temperatures coming here. We're coming, I think, at a point temperatures have dropped to something as low as, is it 10 or 11 degrees Celsius?
Yes, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
We were at the polling station by 4 this morning.
Yeah.
And we were freezing,
Yeah.
like really freezing. But glad to say we did cast our votes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you describe the experience as a citizen, away from your position?
Mm-hmm. In the beginning, slightly slow,
Right.
but picking up after an hour. Yes. And people were very peaceful.
Yeah.
The youth were peaceful. Adults were peaceful. It was amazing. I voted from NRDC, Men Hall.
All right.
We had citizens, a lot of middle-aged men, that were just helping out with the queues.
Wow.
Because I think ECZ was slightly overwhelmed. So they volunteered, and they did a good job, and that's a sign of, peaceful citizens.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
But the feeling you get as a citizen once you cast your vote is one that you can't explain.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
For me, it's I've employed again. I've employed again, and just pray that the results will be what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Some people to work for this nation that will benefit not only me, but even many other people and the generations to come.
Yeah.
Yes. And also just that it's
Let's talk to the issues from your lenses. What are the issues that come with this particular election?
so now it's voter protection.
Yeah.
And look, voter protection is the process that ensures people are freely to vote, cast their vote, go back to their homes freely, no harassment anywhere at the polling stations or in their communities. Immediately you want to talk about the vote not being protected, then you are talking about activities such as violence, you're talking about activities such as intimidation, you're talking about activities such as just unfair play. But now that we are voting, vote protection is important. And why it's important is because everybody who has cast their vote or mess up the votes today and say, no, let's vote again next week. That disturbs industry. It disturbs the flow of the job market. So when investors are sure that Zambia holds peaceful elections every 5 years, and when their people cast the vote is protected. We don't see pockets of violence. We don't see pockets of killings or anything. Investors are happy to come and invest in different sectors. In the elections that will be held in the next 5 years will not attract anybody. That's where you get high levels of voter apathy. And when you get high levels of voter apathy, it's linked to vote protection. It means that there are a lot of votes that have actually not even entered the booth. They're all at home. Yes. We also talk about peace. Peace being a very important factor in vote protection. So again, so far, we've heard that it's very peaceful everywhere. We've seen people posting on social media saying, look, our lines are long in these areas, but there's peace. Everybody's patient, waiting for their turn to cast a vote. And generally, Zambians are peaceful people. And from experience this morning, even a few polling centers that we visited, people are very peaceful. Some people are even sharing some hot drinks in the queue, which is not even today. Those are the messages we put out. And we really, especially for us at the PPD, as much as we'd not say, look, what we're doing is linked to elections, but we would show what government is undertaking, the developments of government. And